Hey, what's up SEO pros? Big news! I recently discovered SEO Nitro and let me tell you, it's a game changer. In just days, I saw incredible results that blew my mind. With SEO Nitro, you can get links from thousands of different C-block IPs, the most powerful links at a fraction of the cost. The patented software lets you control your entire backlink profile in minutes. Add, remove, and change links at any time. Protect your site from Google's changes with SEO Nitro's revolutionary backlinking software. Imagine having the power to have laser-targeted theme backlinks, automated link spinning, set it and forget it. Thousands of stellar sites and manual and automated posting options. SEO Nitro is the ultimate SEO weapon. Head on to SEONitro.com now to revolutionize your SEO game. Don't miss out on page one. It's just click away. Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Friday. How's everyone doing? Oh man, it's getting so warm out here. The bay. Today we have Kelvin Newman, the founder of Brighton SEO, and we'll be talking about the history of Brighton SEO and how to organize your own SEO events. Hey Dre, what's up, Kobe? So this should be a good one. You can take what you learn here on how to produce your own events. It doesn't have to be SEO. It could be digital marketing. It could be on real estate. You can apply this to all kinds of things. I would love to learn the history of Brighton, how huge it got. It's like 5,000 or so. We'll ask Kelvin and see how big it got. Don't be shy, guys. Be sure to say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. Ernesto, yo, yo, yo. How's everyone doing? What's up, Victor? Oh yeah, I think I see Kelvin calling in here. Oh man. How you doing, brother? Oh. All right. If you're just tuning in, we got Kelvin Newman in the back, and we'll be learning how to organize an SEO event. We'll learn the history of Brighton SEO and see how it grew. I'd love to hear the history and story behind it. Oh man, what's that you're sipping on? Was that a beer? Did I see earlier? All right, let's see here. I see a bunch of you out there. Don't be shy, guys. Say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. Can you hear me okay, Kevin?
All good.
All right. Love it. So, I'm just going through the countdown here, saying what's up to everyone in chat. I will go over a few videos in the very beginning, and then I'll introduce you in about 8 minutes after. But everyone here is just saying hi. Hey, hi, Kelvin. Hi, Dre. What's up, Logan? If you're just tuning in, we got Kelvin Newman in the back. You can see him with all his cool things back there. Was that like a nice speaker? Is that the three subwoofers back there?
Yeah, keeping it busy. Yeah, sounds good.
Love it. Brighton just finished a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes. 2 weeks ago. Time's flown since the UK event. Yeah, that's true.
What's the average because I know it's a lot bigger out in your area, right? Like how big does it get?
Yeah, so we get about 3,000 per day. It's 4,000 in total. Something we do 2 days. Just one. So yeah, it's
nice.
Big old beast.
Love it. So we will be sure to learn more about the conference And you do it, is it twice a year? You do it twice a year in?
Twice a year, yeah. Spring and autumn. Yeah, usually April and September, though. Sometimes we sneak into October.
Got it. Love it, guys. We got 5 more minutes. If you're just tuning in, we got Kelvin Newman in the back. And we'll be learning the history of Brighton SEO, how to organize your own SEO events, and learning his SEO journey. So be sure to get your questions ready. And be sure to ask them. You got Latanya from Florida. Hello. Any plans on even expanding beyond San Diego, or is that's kind of like the?
Certainly, it's one that's on the list. So yeah, that kind of if we go do East Coast, that's what we're thinking about, and always interested in people in terms of where they think might be a good location. That's a bit more convenient if you're not based in California, really, I suppose.
Love it. Luther says hello. All right, guys, we got less than 4 minutes to go. Be sure to get your questions ready. We have Kelvin Newman in the back and how to organize an SEO event, the history of Brighton SEO and his SEO journey. We'll be learning all about that and learning all the good stuff that was released this past week. We had, I believe there's a huge manual penalty updates with huge sites. So that's interesting. I have a video and someone share what he was seeing. Did you, Kelvin, did you see the set of questions? Were you able to kind of review them? Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, all made sense. That's something. Cool. So yeah, hopefully, no canned responses for me, but yeah, it's all sort of made sense.
All right, love it. Lucy says hi. All right, let's see here. Let's see a bunch of you more coming in. Hello, fellas. Maddox, hello. If you're just tuning in, we got Kelvin Newman in the back. How to organize an SEO event. Be sure to check it out and get your questions ready. Ooh, it's warm over here. Is it getting warm? Is it getting warmer in your area?
Yeah, we've had our first little bit of sunshine over the last couple of days. So yeah, it's been a pretty terrible year for weather where I am in the UK. So yeah, enjoying the sunshine. Managed to sneak out for a little bit of a bike ride today. So yeah, and set for a big weekend as well. So yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So it's maybe not hot in kind of US context, but in terms of the UK, we're where we'd hope we'd be for this time of year. Whereas before it's been a bit disappointing.
Nice. It says usually like just gloomy. I mean, just like overcast and rainy, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, so Brighton, the city, is the sunniest city in the UK. But yeah, like it's you get plenty of bad weather as well as good weather. So yeah, it's like a classic British weather. But when it is nice, it's a very nice place to be. When it's not nice, it's not, not like San Diego where it's lovely, like 350 days a year. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's more the other way around, more 50-50 split.
Yeah, San Diego's really nice. I mean, it's in SoCal, so I mean, like it gets even more warmer down there.
Yeah.
Fletcher says, "What's up, Drea and Kelvin?" All right, guys, we got less than about a minute to go, so let me go ahead and sorry about that. I'm getting excited pressing all the buttons here. All right. So, Kelvin, I'm going to go ahead and put you on mute right now, and I'm going to go ahead and get things started here, and I'll introduce you about 8 minutes after the hour, and we'll get things going. All right, guys. We just tuned in. We got Kelvin Newman in the back, and we'll be learning all about Brighton SEO, the history of Brighton SEO, how to organize an SEO event, and his SEO journey, and how he is the new owner of PPC Hero. So that's one of his new companies. So be sure to learn all about that.
Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released within the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the founder of Brighton SEO, Kelvin Newman. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Fletcher, Maddox, Lucy, Luther, Logan, Tanya, Stefan, Victor, Ernesto, Kobe, Kenneth. Wow, we've got a bunch of you guys out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Dre, what kind of fruit do SEOs like best? Low-hanging fruit.
Google released a new Search Off the Record podcast on content decay. Lizzi and John discussed the importance of addressing old content and to maintain or improve its performance and relevance with practical steps to tackle it. How do you handle content decay? I personally just check my content opportunities once a month and pretty much update it. Yeah. All right, Google is rolling out its site reputation abuse policy, and the first to get hit are some major websites like Forbes and CNN. Let's check out a little more from Let's Talk SEO.
None of it is algorithmic right now, and Google has said it's not going to be algorithmic for a while, so all the penalties you receive will be manual. Now, as a smaller site, you shouldn't have, this is not something you should worry about. As a major site, you should. Now, just to give you an idea of the type of sites that were hit, it says CNN, USA, Today, LA Times, Fortune, Daily Mail, Outlook India, Times Union, Post and Courier, SF Gate, that's San Francisco Gate, I assume, and a lot more have been hit by the manual penalty. And Google has specifically targeted these sites for manual actions, where Google's manual action, and these sites have been notified to the Google Search Console. And now, so Danny Sullivan said that for now it's just a manual action, but the algorithmic component will indeed come, as we've said, that it's not live yet. So probably another month before the algorithmic thing starts hitting in. And when the algorithm starts kicking in, then it's going to be a lot of the smaller sites that are hit.
All these Google updates are hitting sites hard this year. I mean, but if you have quality content and quality links, you should be good. And if you've been hit, I highly recommend checking out Daniel Foley Carter's episode a few weeks back, revisiting keyword density with Lee Witcher. Let's check this one out.
You have SEOs that are not afraid to use the term, but then they'll go and they're going to put all of these, entities and topical clusters, all this other stuff in there. And as they keep putting more and more and more into the page, it dilutes the keyword density. And then you point out, it's like, hey, you've diluted your density down to a non-competitive level. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, but they don't think about that. They don't go back and look, because they've put the keyword, they put the variations in there, they put the exact match in there. Now we're going to throw all this other stuff on the page. And they don't realize that, it's taking that keyword density, down lower. So.
Yeah. And we teach a simple rule. If you don't want to tune keyword density twice, you tune keyword density less.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's the rule.
And this is one, and this is going to, carry throughout all of them, where, Ted Yore was talking about get measurement. You run a Cora report, you look and go, dude, you're not using your keyword nearly as many times as everybody in the first 25 positions. No wonder you're not ranking. It's like, it's a very simple diagnostic.
Remember, keyword density doesn't have to be on the front end. Ted Kubaitis has shown adding keywords in your div elements in the code can also help you rank higher. His tool, Cora, measures over hundreds of thousands of factors that move the needle. And if you want to check that out, go to topseofactors.com to learn about all the factors it measures. If you want to get 25% off Cora, be sure to check out the link in the description. Google removes the number of results from search results. Crystal Carter shows us how we can still find it. Let's check this one out.
Google has taken away the search results thing from the SERP, from the top of the SERP, and lots of people in Webmaster World, according to the article from Search Engine Roundtable, were saying, you know, the numbers seem to be gone. Somebody else said, "Oh man, not another one they are taking from us," which I feel that to my core. But then we had an update that from at SI1Very, who said that if you go under Tools, that where you can see, you know, the sort by the time of the search results and that sort of thing, then you can see the number of search results. And I tested this myself and I confirmed this, and yes, that is true. You can see that as well. But I think this is really interesting because this also follows along from when they removed the cache link from the SERP as well. So for those of us who like to use the SERP as a tool, raising my hand there for that. This is making it a little bit more tricky and making it a little bit more difficult for you know, the average person to maybe be able to find those search results. So it's interesting. I find it interesting.
Great tip there, Crystal. Thank you so much. So now Nathan God shares the most important process in keyword research. Let's check this one out.
First, always begin with relevance. Ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 5, how relevant is this keyword to my core offer? For example, SEO Training Denver would score a 5 out of 5 for my business because we sell SEO training. But a keyword like Paperform would score a 2 out of 5 because it wouldn't drive highly relevant traffic that has a high probability of converting. So just by using this criteria alone, you'll be able to filter through many of your keywords. However, I also recommend only looking at low competition opportunities first, typically with a KD less than 30. Now, lastly, you should prioritize keywords with commercial or transactional intent. Informational keywords have their place, but they shouldn't be your priority. In fact, informational keywords should be viewed as a means for building topic authority, driving brand awareness, and for supporting your bottom of the funnel keywords. Don't get seduced by search volume. Prioritize keywords that are high value for your business, meaning they're highly relevant to your products and services and have clear commercial intent.
If you or your client has a PPC program in place, be sure to create content around all the search terms that actually have converted. Also, optimizing for high CPC keywords can also save you some money. Well, this brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions on the topic and I will address them in the order that they are received. Before I introduce my guest, here's a word from our sponsor. Are you struggling to get high authority backlinks? My buddy Ferry has a perfect solution for you.
How much do you think this digital PR campaign is worth? Wait just 1 minute before you answer. Watch as we hijack the news with Taylor Swift and Barbie to get you the links. Now we can take this data set from ONS and paste it right into your emails to get you the links. Now how much do you think this campaign is worth? Don't answer! Wait until you see Bloomberg, BBC, Forbes, top tier national and regional news outlets, reactive PR, data PR, expert commentary, over 70 team members at your disposal. This product is so hot I need a fan! And then listen to what campaigns we do at no extra charge. Gain character wages, bananas and sleep, best dates for dogs, luckiest UK areas, and many more. All for just how much did you guess? 10,000? 20,000? Even more? No! It's just £5,500. That's right. It's 5.5 grand. It's an incredible value, but it's true. It's digital PR from Search Intelligence. Order today. PO Box searchintelligence.co.uk. Accept B2B clients.
Kelvin has over 17 years of experience in the digital marketing industry. He's a passionate, innovative online marketing expert and the founder of Brighton SEO. He believes in creating engaging and relevant events that foster collaboration, creativity, and community amongst attendees and speakers. He is the founder and managing director of Rough Agenda. He is the owner of PPC Hero. Please welcome Kelvin Newman.
Kelvin, my man, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I love the intro as well. It's like every variation of Office I've been over the last few years. They're all popping up in the kind of bit. So yeah, it's always lovely to see.
Love it, love it. Everyone just give a round of applause. I'm gonna get right into it, Kelvin. This is the first thing I ask all my SEO professionals to come on here in 1 minute or less. How does Kelvin get ranking on page 1 of Google?
people. I think it's all about trying to understand what the websites that are doing well already are doing, and then trying to get some interpretation, some version of that works for your business. It's about seeing what works, applying that to what you do, and usually that means great content and getting people to know about it, whether that's links or some other means of like spreading the word.
Love it. First knowledge bomb of today. Let's rewind this real quick. Hold on. Take us way back about 17 years ago. How did you first get into the digital marketing industry and into SEO?
Yeah, so I straight out of university went and was working for a magazine company in the UK called EMAP, who did lots of men's magazines and like lifestyle and music magazines. People might know Kerrang and Mojo and Q are some of the ones there as well. So yeah, I was working for them, kind of in a glorified admin job when I left university. They were building their websites at that point in time. No one from the editorial team who wrote for the magazines wanted to write for the websites, so I kind of offered to write a few articles for them. And in the process of writing these gadget reviews of like digital, hard drive DVR reviews or whatever it was, I wanted to try and get more traffic to them so it could be sort of impressive to the people that I was working for, and discovered SEO, and it really sort of appealed to my kind of personality. And at that point, I was living in a city called Brighton, which is about an hour away from London, traveling up to London, commuting in every day, and then discovered there were loads of SEO firms based in Brighton. So it was just a sort of serendipity of discovering search, then discovering there were lots of companies that did search in the city where I lived that I had no idea about, and it just kind of like all cascaded from there, really.
Love that. Love it. So what you mentioned, like SEO matches your personality. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, like I tried to think of myself as kind of a mixture of kind of a creative and interested in writing and interested in how people think. Some of the courses I studied when I was at university and stuff like that were a lot about kind of the words that people use to describe what it is that they do. So that's always been an area that's interesting for me. But it's also kind of got that kind of scientific aspects to it, or certainly the research. Kind of trying to keyword research is really what like drew me into search marketing, and this ability to have tools that kind of gave you a sense of what people were thinking and what they were looking for and what they wanted. That just kind of like really sort of connected with me on some kind of like interesting level that really drew me in. So then it was the kind of, okay, I can understand how people work, but I can use this as a prompt to write. And that kind of really sort of like connected to me, got into a lot of link building stuff that nowadays you'd be thinking is quite old hat, but certainly like at the time was kind of like it fitted well with what those clients that I was working for at that point in time needed, and the skill set I had, and just kind of like emerged and became more experienced in search as I did a bit more of it, really. And always liked blogging, so that's kind of had quite a particularly in the earlier stages of my career, had quite a big impact in terms of getting speaking opportunities, meeting great people, collaborating with people who were really knowledgeable, and that kind of like gave me a route into the search industry, really.
Love that. So how'd you actually learn it then? How'd you actually learn SEO, like when you were doing it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was kind of taught by reading what people were sharing. I mean, practically, I started with there was a book called SEO an Hour a Day, which is kind of like like an SEO for dummies, for want of a better description. But there's always been great guides out there. Now it's like the Moz Guide and all of those kind of things. But yeah, that kind of I've never been afraid if I didn't know how to do something to like find what people have written about it, and just being prepared to ask the questions. And every time I'm trying to learn about something, being open-minded to like exploring and going down that kind of rabbit hole. I'm sure we've all been there, where you're kind of researching a topic and it really kind of interests you. And that was kind of like always my approach to search marketing, which is we're very fortunate that as an industry, as this show kind of like illustrates, it's a very sharing and open industry where people want to help people learn. So that's taking advantage of that and discovering those people who want to help, and like responding to the great content that they're sharing puts you in a really great place.
Love that. Okay, so now take us to the future, like to the present. Like, kind of walk us through your journey from like leaving the 9-to-5 to starting Rough Agenda to like even now acquiring or even owning PPC Hero.
Yeah, so Brighton SEO started out as like half a dozen people meeting in an upstairs room of a pub in Brighton, so the city down on the seaside. And yeah, it essentially came from people on Twitter, like the earlier days of Twitter. So we started in 2010. And it was like, okay, you sort of discovering other people who did the same job as you. Went, do you know what? We should all go down the pub for a drink. And then I went, like, do you know what? Next time I'm going to borrow a projector. We'll get a couple of people to do a talk. That means we can go down the pub at lunchtime and have a beer at lunchtime rather than wait until after work on the Friday. We booked a room for about 30 people. 40 people showed up. So I went, do you know what? We're going to do it in a bigger space next time. Had room for 100 people. 20 people showed up. I was like, do you know what? There's a bit of a thing here. We started to get some sponsors, started to get speakers traveling from further afield. People started to come down to the event, and then we sort of discovered, okay, maybe there's an event here. And it then started out as I was very fortunate in the agency I was working in to go, okay, I want to work on this a couple of days a week. Is that all right? I want to work on this, most of the time. I want to work on it full time, and it came from there. So yeah, we now do. Brighton SEO runs twice a year in the UK, about 4,000 people per show. We just launched in November last year, did our first event in the US. And yeah, very recently, we also acquired PPC Hero, which is a website, but Hero Conf and Search Love, which were two great events that we've been big fans of for a long period of time. And we're in the process of bringing them into the Brighton SEO family, really, and just like offering great events for people who want to get together, meet people who do similar jobs to them, and yeah, just have a good experience when they kind of meet up, really.
Love that. So your meetups, were you actually doing it like every Friday? Or did it start as an every Friday thing, or?
They've always been like every 6 months or so. So, and that's kind of where they started out as a half day, and then lots of meetups get into that kind of monthly routine. They get 50, 60 people each time, and they're great events. They really are. But I always had this kind of ego in the back of my head that I thought I could do some bigger ones. So each time I wanted to go to a bigger venue, and get more people along, or sell out the tickets quicker, or just get like absolutely more, we trending on Twitter and all this kind of thing. So we always had I've always been sort of motivated by making it a bigger thing. And, lots of the tickets to the events are free. So that's always been a big motivator to me in, can I, help people discover SEO or progress in their careers in SEO by learning, but also progress in SEO by getting opportunities to speak, progress in SEO by having opportunities to promote their company to clients via sponsoring the events. And yeah, it's always been, how can I help people, but also, it's my ego about trying to do a bigger, better thing than what I did the last time, really.
Love it. Yeah, it's huge. I haven't been able to fly out to Brighton, but I checked out the San Diego one. It was, coming off of the pandemic and all this stuff, and like it was one of the bigger ones I've actually went to. I was like, wow, there's a bunch of SEOs here. I was like, I haven't seen this many in like years. So that was a great experience. And again, looking forward to checking out this year and again in San Diego. So I wanted let's kind of see how's it evolved. I mean, we kind of talked about like it came from the pub. You were doing it 6 months. You were, and then it got bigger and bigger. You wanted to feel that ego in the kitchen, make want to go bigger and bigger, and which is awesome. So I mean, when you first started doing this, like how what were like the first steps? Like I mean, how'd you just you said you want to talk about it, and like the venue, like choosing like all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, for us, we kind of like fell into it and kind of like learned a lot as we went along, and kind of very relatively early on, some of those early events, what we were doing, I look back now and kind of go, blimey, we didn't really know what we were doing. But that, we were really fortunate that, again, kind of the connection to the community, that people just love getting together and love sharing their knowledge. So people were like really supportive of that. But yeah, we were, like relatively early days, I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. So I got in a really good event manager. I got in, people to help me. And it was just that kind of like tapping into people's skill sets, because like a good event that you organize for people in a business to business context, I think like you need someone who knows the subject really, really well. You need to bring some personality to it. But in a lot of cases, it's quite similar to other events. There are people out there who have those kind of skill sets to do that. So yeah, we kind of like started out there a few where we're just like making it up, and we hired like function rooms and went, I'll borrow a projector and work it out myself. But very quickly we went, do you know what, I need an event manager, and that event manager was able to like find me an AV company, and they were able to like, you know, bring along these people. And it's like, okay, well, we're selling some sponsorship, maybe I need a, you know, person to help me sell some stuff, so we'll bring in a salesperson. And it was again that kind of quite intuitive and evolutionary kind of process of kind of going, well, each time we do an event, what can we do next time to make it a tiny bit better?
Love that. So like, I'm curious, like how big is the staff to run an event like that? Let's say like let's maybe do the one in Brighton. Like how big is that staff to run something like with 5,000 people?
So yeah, there's 5 or 6 of us who work on it kind of full time all year round, and then maybe another 5 or 6 who are like, you know, nearly full time, so part time. You know, kind of doing like 3 or 4 days a week. And then when we're doing the event on site in the UK, yeah, there's, you know, probably 50 or 60 people who are kind of working there who are directly working for us before you go, okay, and there's, you know, 25 AV technicians, there's, you know, all the people working on the registration desk who we hire in to help us on that. And yeah, it's a big old thing. And, you know, it's interesting for me where it's like a lot of these people, I don't know their name, and that's kind of fine because, you know, the person who's managing them on site does know their name and is working really well with them and knows who it is. So yeah, it's been interesting for me over time where it's gone initially where it's like, you know, it'd be 2 a.m. the morning before a conference and I'd be printing out name badges on my like A4 LaserJet, to now where it's like, well, actually, you know, there's some exceptional people working on the event, and, you know, I've like my team or my team's team of like found these people to go off and do that. So yeah, it's quite a big operation in terms of people involved in it. And yeah, it's again just kind of tapping into people's skill sets and events in the UK and in the States and in other countries as well. There's lots of kind of freelancers or specialists who go from, you know, who'll do 25 different events a year or 50 events a year or whatever it is. And you can kind of go, okay, well, I need you for this week and I need your particular strong skill set. And, you know, they come in and do a great job. And then the next week they go on and do a great job for someone else.
Excellent!
All right. So this is cool. It's kind of going more into like the nitty gritty of like even how of like choosing the date. Right. I mean, like I'm pretty sure you have to really plan this out, like maybe around, you know, and if it's not around holidays or, you know, other events, like how do you go into like, you know, planning the date and, you know, when you plan these?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it comes down to venue availability, and that's been kind of like a really like interesting challenge for us at the moment is we're really juggling, you know, so like in the UK, we've got dates held at the venue until 2030. So we sort of know when we're doing events even until in like 6 years time. And then we're kind of bringing San Diego into that. A lot of those kind of venues are, we really like the venue we were at last time round and their availability. San Diego's a big event city. They've got things going through there, big shows that take over with 50,000 attendees. And kind of, yeah, a lot of it's sort of like this juggling act. And you've got like a calendar where you've got, you know, all of the holidays on it. You've got the, you know, a calendar we've got where we've got the other events that we know are going to be occurring. Interesting now, I think we tend to plan a little bit further ahead than other events. So we've been fortunate now that generally speaking, we will, you know, do events that, you know, like people tend to fit around us rather than us fit around them. But then you're always going to get clashes. So like our San Diego event this year is the same week, but not the same days as Chiang Mai. You know, so a great event's going on there as well. And, you know, it always kind of gets a degree of overlap. You know, it's kind of difficult to do that. And, you know, and even to the extent like our San Diego one in 2024 it's like a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving and Black Friday. So that's a tricky time, but that was when we can make the venue. And like next year we're flipping it. So the 2025 San Diego event will be in September rather than November. And then we'll move the UK one around. And it's a lot about kind of availability and juggling and, you know, the points at which you do. But it's also very strange that, like, I'd like to pretend we went in with like April and September in the UK being like, that's when we think's the best time of year to run an event, rather than just, we did the first one and went, oh, we'll do it when, you know, give us 8 weeks, we'll do it again kind of thing. And it just like randomly fell there. And actually in hindsight, it's terrible timing because like the events are around my birthday and my wife's birthday. So it's like always kind of juggling around that. Whereas if I was starting again, I go, do you know what, we're going to do it in, you know, in May or in February or something like that, rather than like, constantly kind of being a couple of days away from my birthday or a couple of days away from my wife's birthday.
Love that. Love that. So, look, when you talk about venues, what are some of the key things you look at a venue? I mean, like the venue in San Diego was awesome, and the layout, and you had like the 3 huge rooms, and the way it was formatted, I think the flow as well. So, what are some certain things that you actually look for in a venue to make sure it like runs smoothly?
Yeah, so in the UK, it's like been one where like we're now in the biggest space in the city, so it's kind of like we kind of, like we don't have any other options for how we can do it, right? So that's kind of the biggest space, other than if we kind of go out to the out-of-town stadium and do it on the pitch of the Premier League ground there. So that's sort of like we didn't really have a choice in that, and that's been interesting now in terms of, where you've gone, okay, we shaped our event around the only space that was suitable, whereas in the US it's like, well, what space do you want? And you then start to go back and go, well, what are the key bits that you want from an event? So for us, it's like, we want there to be big stages. We want there to be lots of opportunities to learn from speakers. That's a big part of how the event works. So we need spaces that have, like decent audience sizes. And one of the things that like we like is, in the UK, we don't have it, where it's like, the stages are completely different sizes. So there's a 400, a 200, a 400, a 600, and then like a 1500, 5,000 it'll actually ultimately see. So there's big differences. Whereas in the US, we're kind of going, well, we know that different topics are, very few topics are like 10 times more popular than another. So we're kind of going, well, actually, how do we make it more even? And yeah, it's about that. And it's about also our business model and approaches. We're very, we love that we've got an exhibition show, an exhibition element to it, which is perhaps a little bit different from some of the other search events that sort of were around before and sort of preceded us, which were far more, you buy a ticket, you go watch a talk, whereas ours, you can buy a ticket or you can get a free ticket, but there's also the trade show bit as well. So we kind of need space for that, and we need to be in a space that kind of flows. And yeah, it's, and then again, you're juggling with availability, you're juggling with different cities, and yeah, like, sometimes it just falls into place via a bit of serendipity. And yeah, it like usually sort of works out. And then you afterwards kind of think that you made an incredibly clever decision when it was just kind of random luck a lot of the time that you kind of ended up choosing that particular space at that particular point in time.
Love it. So I'm curious, like, because you could have picked any city in the United States. Like, I mean, obviously San Diego's a great city. I mean, I love it. But I'm curious, like, what were you, was there other city before going to San Diego and like kind of planting the flag there? What were there other places that you were actually looking at that you probably were?
Yeah. I mean, I've been talking about it for years and asking people on LinkedIn and Twitter in terms of which city should we do it in. And basically, the recommendations were usually the city that they lived in. That was usually where the recommendations came from. But yeah, there were so many places that we could have done it, and there are a few reasons we chose San Diego. So the UK event is literally right on the beach. It's a pebbly beach, and it's often very cold, but it's still right on the beach. So kind of we were half in our mind going, we'd like somewhere that was on the water. That kind of felt like it had a feel that would be kind of similar there as well. And Lindsay, who's a member of our team, had previously hosted events in San Diego. So again, that sort of felt like, there was, she had some experience with San Diego. We know that Search Love, which we now own, but they'd gone on hiatus for a couple of years. They'd previously done events in San Diego, smaller events, but they'd kind of worked quite well. So it kind of felt like there was something there. In hindsight, like most of the team are based in the UK, so doing an event that would have been in a city on like Eastern, on New York or East Coast, would have been easier from a time zone perspective. But it felt like California had a lot going for it that was similar to the kind of the Brighton city is a similar city to San Diego. So that kind of led us down that route. And then it like, the more people we asked about it said, yeah, that is a good thing. And obviously the city is exceptionally well set up for events. So they've got the convention center there, which is like where Comic-Con is. And, we're a few years away from doing that, but like, that's our kind of aspiration, which is like, could we do a 10,000 attendee search marketing event? And San Diego has the space to allow us to do that, and the kind of intermediate steps along the way to get us up to that point as well.
Man, 10,000 SEOs in one place. I wonder how that's gonna. I mean, that'd be fun. We SEOs, we know how to party, man. So
yeah, that's for sure. There'll definitely be lots of good parties going on there, and lovely dinners, and great runs and all this kind of thing. Yeah, it's like it's amazing the different ways people find to network and have a good time around each other. And that's again a big part of it as well. It's like, people have to travel for work, and that's fine, and they want to go for that. But if they can also have a good time around that, that hopefully makes the trip even more worthwhile. So they're getting the knowledge stuff, but they're also, you know, making new friends, catching up with old friends, and like having an opportunity to, you know, like do some fun stuff around it. Like I'm going out to MozCon in Seattle in a few weeks' time, and I was, you know, obviously really excited about the conference, but I'm really excited about, okay, well, I'm going to go to the baseball with Noah, or I'm going to like, you know, try and go kayaking with. I mean, you kind of, you know, that's a big part of it as well. So it's those bits around the event I think are very important, and you know, it's hard to justify a business trip. So if you're able to kind of get a bit of personal benefit as well as the work one, it like means that you're having a good time, really.
Yeah, I feel like at the conferences, like it's not just about the event itself, but networking. Network with the other people that show up is like it's gold. Those relationships are just so good. I mean, I even met a lot of people at the Brighton SEO in San Diego, and I still keep in touch with them today. And we just, you know, chop it up and talk SEO. And if they're in town, like in San Francisco or Bay Area, where I'm at, you know, we all hang out. So that's some great stuff there. So let's go into the type of content now. The content of these conferences, like speaker selection. Like how do you select like your speakers, and like what kind of criteria? Like, what's the process?
Yeah, so I mean, every event will do it a slightly different way, but our process is that we have a pitch form up year round. So we encourage people whenever they have an idea. So if people are interested, definitely do put yourself forward. It's BrightonSEO.com/pitch, and it's basically a web form. And you can go, who are you? What's your name? What's your job title? Tell us a bit about kind of your biography. But what we're really interested in is like, give us some ideas of the topics that you'd cover. And that's the route that we're predominantly doing. So we're looking at the topic first, the speaker second, which might be different to other events where I think particularly ticketed events, they're often kind of looking for who's going to help us sell tickets. And that makes sense. But ours, because we've got a lot of free tickets, because lots of people book before we even really announce the speaker lineup, we can do it in a slightly different way, which is we look primarily at the topics. So we keep that year round. And then in every few weeks or so, I'll go through the list, and there'll be those that kind of go into my maybe pile and all that kind of thing. And then I'll start to invite people along and say, are you available? Would you like to do this talk? And then it becomes a lot about the combination. So I think sometimes this, like, we probably need to do a better job of communicating this on the part of Brighton SEO, is that because of the way that we program in groups of 3, we're sort of like looking for talks that other people will cover as well. So sometimes we get like an individual title that's really interesting, but we're kind of going, well, what else could that sit with? And that's often sometimes an interesting challenge. So yeah, if people want to put themselves forward, definitely submit multiple ideas. Definitely frame it in being like a useful talk, where it's kind of like how to do a thing. Never be afraid to be, you know, more specific. So like if someone comes and says, I'm going to do a talk about link building, and I'm kind of like, that feels a bit broad, that feels a bit big. Whereas if they're able to kind of go, okay, I'm going to talk about, you know, using, I don't know, Chat GPT to improve the quality of your outreach emails. You know, maybe that's a terrible idea. It probably is. But, you know, I can see as a person reading that idea is more specific what they're being able to talk about. And I can see there's going to be practical. It's going to be something that people are going to be taking notes from. And it's going to be one that they're, you know, able to fit with other topics as well.
Love that. So with let's say for like, what's usually the deadline? Let's say like, you know, can people still apply for the San Diego event, or is it like?
Yeah, so we're mostly there, and I mean, weirdly, we kind of encourage people to pitch year round, because often what will be, as the program gets fuller, we'll be trying to fill gaps. So I get 2 talks that fit really nicely together. I'm then kind of looking for that other talk that will be the 3rd talk that completes that session. Or indeed, San Diego is a weird one because we're on an annual cycle rather than a 6-monthly one. There are people who are confirmed to speak who will end up, you know, they'll have to travel, they'll have to, you know, things will occur. So slots do open up. So yeah, it's definitely kind of one of those ones where the prime time for the UK event is about, you know, 6 months before the next event. The US is a little bit more refined in the routine of where it is, but usually it's like the couple of weeks after the event takes place. It creates some interesting challenges for us, because if it's a year ahead, you're then trying to find topics that work, that are going to still be relevant in a year's time. But we are also holding slots open where we're kind of going, well, we're not 100% confirming everything because we know things will come up. But we like new things, and we like exciting new things that are occurring. But often the speaker will decide the title, and then they'll be able to make it more current when we get nearer. So it's like we're not kind of committing them to, you know, we're committing a topic, but the detail of what they'll cover will reflect what's appropriate in when they come to draw their deck together, which is usually like 6 to 8 weeks before the conference actually takes place.
Love that. So I'm curious. Okay, when they pitch the topics, like, do you accept like when they're how tos, like more even like the more like underground type of like topics of like, let's say, because the type like, I don't know. I mean, let's say like black hat. Someone wants to teach something black hat in the conference. Is that something that's you accept, or you like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like that. I don't have a philosophical view that like some topics are appropriate or not. Mm-hmm. What I will say is our attendees tend to be a little bit more on the kind of enterprise. Maybe enterprise isn't the right way of putting it, but certainly kind of like brand side or larger agencies. It tends to be less that kind of solo affiliate. Mm-hmm. Kind of world where you high risk high reward tactics are appropriate. It tends to be less of that, so it's not to say that we never take a talk that's like that, but it's kind of, it would be I suppose we're more like Moz than Black Hat World, if that makes sense, in terms of to use those kind of analogies. And that kind of sometimes can help people kind of understand the sort of topics. But if it's practical, useful, and it's something that you're prepared to talk about publicly, it could well be a good topic. And sometimes the most interesting ones are those that are slightly taking an inventive look at something, probably not the spammy worst end of the spectrum, but certainly like we do we're probably I suppose a white hat conference, I suppose, in that kind of instance. But we're not, I wouldn't say we're goody two shoes and only do what people say, but it's kind of like that kind of it's a balance that we strike there, and different events are kind of more targeted to those kind of solo or more aggressive approaches, and that's fine, because that's, people are going to want to do that and they're going to want to learn about that. But that's never been my background, so I tend to it's been shaped from the approach that I had when I was doing more SEO.
Love that. Okay, so now let's talk about, because costing the event, I'm actually curious myself, like throwing an event like this takes a lot of funds, right? you can need some money to throw an event like this. So you obviously, when you get vendors and sponsors and stuff like that, it helps with the cost. But how do you look for vendors? Can anyone become a vendor at the place, or is there actually a selection and sponsorship?
Anyone's welcome to approach us, and we'll be honest. And when we're having those conversations, we only want to work with people where they're going to get some value from it. And if there's not a fit there, then it's no good for us to get someone who works with us once and has a terrible time and then never wants to work with us again. That's a wasted opportunity. We only want to work with people who who can be with us long term. There's people like Lumar, who are heavily involved in the event, who used to be LinkDex, who I think sponsored the second ever event, and they maybe haven't sponsored every single event since then, but they've kind of been, have been through that kind of process as well. So it's definitely kind of, there's the opportunity to do that. But it's an interesting one, and certainly I think the reason that this might be a bit boring and eventsy, but certain events have certain business models that they use, and that's going to allow them to run different types of events. So I'm a big fan of Women in Tech SEO and their events that they organise. They are like a predominantly ticketed event. Okay. That's where they make most money. They have a little bit of sponsorship as well. Mm-hmm. And that influences the decisions that they make, and it influences the sort of approach that they take. We're what's in the events industry they call a convex. So a conference and exhibition, and you might also get other events that are more like an expo and a trade show. Yeah. And depending on which of those ones you've got and where you fit on those spectrums, the decisions that you make about the event, the venue that you choose, the program that you have, the combination of team members that you've got will reflect those kind of decisions. And so for us, we're really fortunate that we have a big sponsored element, and as part of that, that allows us to, and part of the reason we developed that sponsor offering was to allow us to have free tickets. So got it. We'll give a couple of thousand tickets away for the UK event, we'll give 1,000 free tickets away to the San Diego event, and that's important for me because I think that there's a danger if tickets are only $2,000 or $1,500 or whatever it is, that only certain types of people are going to be able to justify that trip. We still have pay for tickets, and we're not that's fair, but we kind of go, well, I also want people to have the opportunity to come. And in fairness, if you're traveling, you still got your travel expenses and all that kind of thing. So it's a pretty still major undertaking. But, you know, I've kind of gone, I like that allows maybe some in-house people who perhaps might not have been able to attend. It might allow slightly more junior people to attend who like otherwise wouldn't have been, you know, because, you know, if you've got really expensive ticket, like you might just only have your, you know, your heads of SEO, your heads of paid search attending, and that's fine. But I think a great event has a mix of people, a mix of experiences, a mix of like philosophical viewpoints, and that kind of comes to that. So yeah, for us, it's like, but it's a big leap, you know. So you'll do a new event, you know, the model becomes part of the process, and you kind of, you know, you have to do a really good event, and it has to have really great talks, and it has to have a really great experience where you're doing lots of fun things, but it has to make money as well. And if you're not doing that, your event's only going to be around for a relatively short period of time. And I think, you know, events are quite cool, and I can understand why lots of people want to do them, but they can be quite hard to make the sums add up, particularly if you're an agency and you're doing it as like a side thing. It's quite hard to dedicate the time to it that, you know, you would do if you're an event specialist and you're doing it year round.
Love that. So when it comes to sponsorships and vendors, typically is a sponsor is are they also a vendor, become a vendor, like a sponsor vendor is kind of like interchangeable? Yeah.
I mean, so there's kind of a lot of the people who commercially contribute, who are companies, would be software companies.
Okay.
Usually SaaS businesses, but they kind of, some of them aren't, and might have a slightly different kind of model to that. And they would be a tool who, you know, would be, kind of provide a surface. So you would get Stat, our sponsor, Wix. Mordy on early. Mordy's kind of like regular headline sponsor. Ahrefs are a big regular sponsor of ours as well. So there's a lot of those types of software companies, but there's also agencies. And agencies who want to speak to clients. So like, you know, Rise at 7 have sponsored San Diego last time around, are sponsoring this time around, and you know, you get a mixture of kind of different companies, and they've all got slightly different marketing objectives that they got from being involved in the event. And for us, what we've got to try and do is find a way that they're able to hit their marketing objectives and, you know, want to be involved in the event, but also that, you know, it isn't in tension with the attendee experience. We're trying to like make sure that everyone, you know, in a really good business, organisers are benefiting, sponsors are benefiting, attendees are benefiting, because you're all kind of aligned on what it is that you're trying to do.
Love that. So, can you kind of give us a brief, just so we could like say if someone wants to sponsor over at San Diego, the Brighton San Diego, like the kind of like packages or the kind of the prices, like how much like is like a sponsorship, you know, like.
I mean, it'll vary on the type of things that people are interested in, like size of the stage, whether they want to do a party. You know, it's in the tens of thousands of dollars, but it's not in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, it's kind of, and I think, you know, one thing we maybe ought to do more of is kind of like, there are some pretty good entry level options, you know, that we have, whether it's like, you know, delegate bag inserts or kind of like, you know, small scale, like small mini stands that we've got. They don't need to be necessarily like you know, a huge sum of money, but it's kind of, you know, what's key is, and I think again, this is important for anyone who's wanting to sponsor or exhibit at any event, is to have a clear sense of what their objectives are and how they're trying to measure if it's successful. And if you've got that, so you've got a kind of like a model for, you know, a lead is worth this, or, you know, we're trying to create this amount of brand advocates, or some kind of clear objective, clear marketing objective, but also hopefully clear commercial objective down the line, you're able to kind of go, okay, well, what's the package we want to do that? Because for some people, it'll be about brand awareness, so that, you know, they want to kind of like be better known. So that the approach that they would take in being involved with them would be very different from someone which is like, yes, everyone knows who we are, but we've just launched this new feature, you know, and they're kind of quite different marketing objectives. And, you know, that'd be different in the digital marketing you do if that was what you're doing. So therefore your event marketing probably should be a slightly different kind of mix of things that you do.
Love it. So when it comes to marketing the event, I mean, obviously, I think Brighton SEO has its brand, right? So like that attracts it on its own. But you know, even when you're first starting, like even when someone wants to do an event themselves, like what would you say like are some marketing strategies to actually, you know, be promoting like a conference like yours?
Yeah, I mean, for us, a big part of it's been email marketing. I don't think that, you know, it's not the sexiest topic in the world, but like building a list and then, you know, making use of that list is so vital for events, but for basically any kind of organisation. And particularly, like, we probably relied a bit overly on Twitter as a means of kind of promoting and talking about what we do, which obviously is like the relative popularity for Twitter for us is, you know, it's not as popular as it was, right? So it isn't having the same impact. So we're more reliant on the email newsletter or the email list that we've got than we did before. But certainly I think, like, in the past, maybe we would have been better to have been paying a bit more attention to building our email list and a bit less to Twitter. LinkedIn's been a big part of it as well. And it's those kind of places where you would do B2B marketing.
Got it.
And I definitely think most businesses is like, whatever you're doing, having some kind of email where you can have a direct, unmediated conversation with the people who are potential customers of yours is incredibly powerful. And then it's just kind of having a sense of who you are, investing in design, you know, like or a tone of voice. Maybe it's not necessarily design, but like a kind of, you know, a look or feel to what you produce, right? And you know, Dre, you've got great examples here, right? Of like, this is your show and it's your show, and there are bits to it and elements to it that are memorable and like unique to you. So kind of elements of that are very helpful as well in events, because some of them can be a bit generic, a bit non-specific, you know, a bit unmemorable. So we've lent into that, and I think that's kind of an appropriate approach to taking any marketing, really, which is like, try and be distinctive and memorable.
Love it. So, okay, I mean, you've been doing this for how long now? How many? Is it over 10 years? Is it what? Is it?
So we started in 2010. So 14 years. It's coming out to 15. Ironically, we had our big 10-year birthday party like a week before everything got locked down for COVID. So that's kind of a memorable one for us in terms of like that stage of it. It'll be nice to be the 15-year anniversary coming up. Yeah, sort of like this point next year.
Love it, guys. If you have any questions, please ask them in the live chat as I'm coming close to my coming close to time here. But I want to. So from those 14 years, I'm sure you had some challenges. I want to know maybe one story that you like happened in one of the events that you kind of like learned from. Please like share.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's humble enough to admit that you're going to make mistakes along the way. There's going to be things, and we went through a big process of, you know, we early doors went, okay, Brighton SEO works. It was a really popular event when we quickly went, okay, let's do a content marketing event. Let's do an email marketing event. Let's do a biddable media event that we did. And we very quickly went, okay, we went from doing one event a year or 2 events a year to doing 12. And 10 of those were in London. And we've been doing the Brighton event. We did this. This was like a fairly long period of time ago now. I want to say like 2014, something like that. And we just did too much. We took on too much stuff. And we didn't have the love and attention to each of these things that we were doing. And like for us, London as a location is an amazing city. And you can do amazing events in London. And there are many amazing events in London. But for us, a lot of what made the Brighton SEO event special was it's by the seaside. People were coming down and staying for the full day. They weren't nipping in for an hour here and there and then going back to their office. It had quite a lot of value from that. So that was a kind of like, you know, interestingly, we're now going through a process with the acquisition of HeroConf, of SearchLove. We're doing an event called Affiliate Huddle as well. We're now, a few years later, doing a version of that strategy that's working very, very well now. But we weren't ready for these multiple events, and we'd misunderstood something, which was, okay, you know, it's a free event. It's got lots of attendees. Let's just do a lot of them. Whereas now we're kind of going, well, actually, we'll have them all in one location. We'll benefit from that. We won't have the kind of like continual onness and like lots of people in like events end up getting burnt out. Like the events industry is kind of a bit renowned for burnout because it kind of can be quite stressful, can be quite long hours, can be late hours, and lots of people who are working in events are doing, you know, I know people who run awards. It's a really good example of this, like award ceremonies, and they'll do 3 award ceremonies. So it'll be like a, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it'll be like finish at 3 a.m. every night, and they'll do that solid for 6 weeks in that 6-week period, and they're just broken people at the end of that kind of like 6 periods. Yeah, I think it's like being, you know, you've got to be ambitious, you've got to try stuff out, but it's also not being afraid to go, actually, let's go slow. right? There's be patient. Let's wait our turn. And I think that's for us kind of the US event is a really good example of that. Like people have been asking us to do it for a long period of time, but it never felt like quite the right time until, after COVID, there were less events running. So a few events that we liked weren't happening anymore. A great the serendipity of everything fell into place, and then it was the right point to make that decision. And we could have forced that earlier, and might have made a mistake. Whereas, you're never going to get the perfect time to do anything, but being prepared to be, patient sometimes. Because I think that the reality, if you're the kind of person who starts a business, start adventurous, and that's in your nature, right? Sometimes it's good to kind of hold back a little bit and just wait for the right time to do things.
Love it. Okay, guys, we're coming close to time here, so I didn't see any questions coming in. So here's kind of my last question. So tell us more about any future developments that we expect from Brighton SEO. Is it going to be because you actually mentioned some other things that you you acquired PPC Hero, and they actually had their own conference too. Is that something that you're blending in or separate events?
Yeah. So I mean, for us, it's always been. So we acquired from Brain Labs, who are a really good digital marketing agency, 2 events, a Search Love, which was like a general search.
Okay.
Which used to be in London and in a US city that moved around, and PPC Hero, which was really, was a really, really good website, and is a really good website, covering paid search and paid social. So we've acquired them and we're bringing them in. And a bit of the logic to that, in my case, is that very well. Our events are good. There are lots of good SEO events. I've always been surprised that there aren't more paid search and paid social events. Given the amount of people who do paid search and paid social advertising, given the spend that's made on paid search and paid social, it's always seemed strange to me that there's, I could name 20 good SEO events that predominantly concentrate on SEO. I couldn't name 20 events that focus on paid search, paid social. So that's a big thing for us. I kind of think that there's a big opportunity there. When we did the San Diego event, we had a lot of people who used to go to HeroConf, because HeroConf, sort of came back after COVID, but had a pause for COVID, then had a pause after the pause, and kind of keen for it to come back. So that's kind of where the logic came to us. So we went to Brain Labs and said we'd really love to pick up this event. So yeah, we're running HeroConf alongside Brighton SEO in San Diego in November. So there'll be a couple of tracks there, a couple of days, same kind of model. So lots of free tickets for that, for people to learn about paid search and paid social. And then we'll be doing it again in April in the UK. And the idea is, if you're a paid search person, you can go and sit in those rooms and learn a lot about paid search. If you're an SEO person, you can sit in your room and learn about SEO. If you want to move between the two, you can. And then you also kind of get this serendipity that, when you're going for a meal in the evening, when you're, kind of going for a run, when you go for a drink in the evening, you've got this great opportunity to meet up with other people who have, quite similar interests and quite similar topics that they're kind of wanting to learn about and doing their job.
Love it. Okay, this is my last question here. So I want to if there's three things that you can give to anyone that wants to throw an event, what would the 3 pieces of advice for them you would have for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one is know why you're doing it. So what's your outcome that you're wanting to do? And for me, it was that kind of, I want to make events more accessible to more people. And that was predominantly and a lot of things kind of cascaded from that. So the free tickets, the kind of we do things our speaker selection process is sort of about focused around, finding new speakers. We do things we coach new speakers, we mentor new speakers to encourage them to do that. And that's again, because I think that's important, because I was very fortunate very early on in my career to get a speaking opportunity, getting huge confidence in my abilities. And I think everything that's happened since, I can kind of directly attribute to Chris Sherman, who was working at Third Door Media, or SMX. So the first SMX event that happened in London in 2007, got offered a speaking opportunity. I might have put myself on, but I can't remember, but I got selected anyway to speak at that event. And so much of that is kind of cascaded from that. There are people who are lifelong friends who were on that panel with me in that first kind of opportunity that I got. but that was really important to me. So for people who wanted to launch events, know why you're doing it. And that, might be because you really want more people to know about a particular topic, or because you really want people in your city to get together, and it's kind of focused around that. So just having a clear idea of why you're doing it is useful. Then, think about the model, so the business model, how it doesn't have to make money. You can run not-for-profit events, but kind of being aware of what levers you can pull to make it viable. Because you want to think, do the first couple and find your way. But like early on, you kind of want to go, okay, well, what does the 5th iteration, the 10th iteration of this event look like? And then kind of going, well, what's the intermediate steps to get there? And then have fun, right? And enjoy the events. They can be hugely exhilarating. They can be hugely stressful. But then the combination of those two is pretty addictive. And that's why I think people kind of get sort of sucked into it, is because it can be quite the kind of adrenaline hit of you've been working on this thing for a period of time. It looked like it all could have gone wrong at any point in time, and then it happened and it went really, really well. And then you're really accelerated by that, but then immediately you kind of go, oh, well, here's the thing we can do a bit better. Here's the thing we can do a bit better. And I like that kind of continual striving to do an event a little bit better. And, I think that's sort of a useful skill to have. And it's different from kind of when I used to work agency side. You were working on projects that kind of had a retainer and went on a period of time. You were continually having to deliver. Some people love that kind of cadence of work, cadence of experience. For me, I kind of quite like these big, hey, I'm working towards a thing for 6 months, and then, there's a jeopardy that it could all go wrong. But usually it doesn't, and usually it's 90% as good as you think it could be, and then it's all about striving to get that next 10% that you could do next time around.
Love it. And if someone wants to get into this is actually the very, very, very last question I ask, but if someone wants to get into the SEO industry, become an SEO professional, what would your advice be to them?
Well, I mean, they're in the right place, right? They're watching videos like this, so that that's the big difference now, I think, from when I was getting into search is YouTube is a gold mine of great places to learn from people. And look at those, people that are recommended, look at the people who are commenting on those videos, go and see their channels as well. And there's this great ecosystem around that. So definitely kind of lean into those. Check out events if there's something local to you that works as well. And just ask questions. Find your place. It might be a forum, it might be a Slack channel, it might be the comments of a live stream like this. Find that place where it feels like you've got kind of a connection to some peers, and then ask them. It's a very, very giving community. And if you've got a question here, I'm sure, Dre would, and the other people who are watching in the comments, if you've got a particular SEO challenge, you're just starting out, ask about it in those comments, because there's going to be people there that are going to help you out and want you to do well.
Love it. And for this episode to feel complete for you, any last comments, and how can people get a hold of you? I'm increasingly on LinkedIn rather than Twitter. So on Twitter, I'm Kelvin Newman. On LinkedIn, I'm Kelvin Newman. So definitely do connect on there. That's kind of the best way of doing that. And if you're interested in what we're doing, there's the us.BrightonSEO.com for the US event. There's BrightonSEO.com for the UK event. And PPC Hero, which is a website that we're working very hard to become the best place to learn about paid search and paid social. Love it. Everyone, let's give a round of applause. All right, Kelvin, can you hold on for one quick second? While I sign off? Hold on. All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And don't forget to visit our sponsors, SEOnitro.com and search-intelligence.co.uk. Until next time, I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre DeVera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!